Yeah, well, give me a thumbs up if not they get me audio. Can I have a thumbs up or yes? You know, yeah, they see the chat room and they see a few friends. Mr. Bandy Fode. I mean, if not hearing me, just a yes or no should be fine. All right. A yes or no should be fine. Okay. See what's going on here in terms of the audio. Yeah. Just get complaints saying and then they get the audio. Zainab Tight, welcome to the program. Okay, yes, I'm being heard. Lovely. So, Fambulem, make I just repeat this song on a low basis quickly. Yeah. I just repeat it on a low basis quickly. Obviously, the song we bear no material gain or not derive any material, no financial gain from the song. It's a song by the late Marvin Gaye, and it's titled "What's Going On." It's within a love context, you know, about love in sort of wider perspective, if you like, because it equally represents what we will talk about. Okay. So I just want to welcome Una. Thank you. Dear Una, share this video, yeah? Please. There's some important things for talk about here tonight. Very, very important things for talk about tonight. Yeah? Lost questions. And today we want to talk about that in within three contexts. The law, within the law say. 2, the state, i.e. the government. And 3, the people, in capital letters. The people, which is me, which is you. Putting at the provision under the Constitution by this work. Okay? Yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in. We carry on with the program, Gigi's not fumble and they're just there. Let me hear this song. Listen to the tune, listen to the vibes, listen to the instrument. And I'm dedicating this program to the people of Sierra Leone, specifically the people of Makeni, specifically those that lost loved ones. These are the people that this program is dedicated to. Dear family, dear share this video, okay? And I don't want to do a monologue. I don't mind because I'm prepared for a monologue. I've got a bunch of notes where I do. But if you get an opinion, if you get a view, if you get a position, an advice, a proposal, please feel free for call. The number is 077 4010 7250. I repeat, 077 4010 7250. If you call from outside, don't forget to add the country code +44. And also, if you call from outside and you don't want to call on a direct line, we get the WhatsApp number where you can specifically call, which is obviously country code +44 074. Of course, you omit the 0, you omit them rather. So you got +44 74 3200 2628. Thank you very much. It's like the instrumental to what's going on. We need to know what's going on. Many thanks, Sister Zainab Tight. This is what the occasion is about. It's about mourning. Makeni Mourns. When Makeni mourns, Sierra Leone mourns. When Sierra Leone mourns, the citizen mourns. But unfortunately, we've seen some repugnant, repulsive comments and sites, which is unbecoming of a nation, which is showing the crack of the nation, which is widening the gap. And we also want to talk about responsibility. Okay, I mean, just to try for play a late Marvin Gaye tune about what's going on, how war is not answer, how love is the thing that's supposed to prevail. Because in the end, no matter what people do, no matter what the minority does, no matter what other people do with no good intention, the will of the people will prevail. The people cannot be subjugated into silence. The people cannot be cowed. At least these things can happen for a while, which make me remember the Bob Marley slogan. What's in the slogan even say, you know, you're like getting up and standing up, you know, for your right, and that you can fool some people sometimes, but you cannot fool all of the people all of the time. So that's how serious this program is tonight. So like I be the say Fambulem, do you at the big. Once more, one final time, dear, I will share this particular program, yeah? Make we share them. Wide and far. Wide and far. Okay, I said I want to talk about this program in a three-way sort of sense. And that three-way sort of sense for resonate to an entire country. And not only the country, also the international friends and people that were interested in we country, which is the law, first of all, because the law now in can put a protective cloud over every one of us and how we're supposed to comport and govern ourselves. And then the state will get a responsibility for look after us through the remit of the law. And then finally, the people. Remember, we can turn this upside down, whichever way, the people does matter. It can even be the first. Because why? Governments derive their power from the people. And this not to me they say this, although it makes absolute sense. If you open the Constitution of Sierra Leone today, 1991 Constitution, where we go talk about briefly, it will tell you, say, the power of governments is derived from the people. Without the people, there is no government. What this simply means is that the rights of the people must be respected. So there is a social context about the contract between the government and people vis-a-vis the people and the government. Everybody get for respect side. But there are contradictions in everything that we say and do. So on the part of government and contradictions are on the part of the people. How we tread them path then they carefully so that we immerse a nation in a cohesive way, in a lovable way, in a kind way, in an understanding way, in an amicable way, is what really, really matters. We cannot see the brutalization of one people or another side of a people, and then another side, you know, they celebrate. This is not an archaic society. This is not a society we're not supposed to exist in the 21st century. And if you are not afraid, I am afraid with waiting at the sea and Yeri. So Fambulem, in any case, this is exactly what you want to talk about in the waiting happen at Makeni. So this program is dedicated to the people of Makeni. The Mamide will lost them, picking them, the daddy will picking them. Una let we hold that, una let we pray, we tell God thank you, not for because we lost to, but because these are the ultimate sacrifices in a democracy. Okay? So here we go, Fambulen. Ever since from the initiation of time, okay, man has always been responsible for in own things them, bad or good, way they happen to run. Again, I repeat, ever since the initiation of time, when man begin for exist on this planet, even for those of us that are scriptural, for those of us that are biblical, for those of us that are believers. Okay, I think we'll get a caller. Hello? Yeah? Yeah, hold on the line, please. Yeah. Okay, Fambulen, we got a caller online, but of course, I mean, just to begin for go into the element, and it is a good thing. And I want to say, please feel free for call if you get an opinion, and you're supposed to, yeah, whether for or against, but you supposed to have something for say on waiting to happen in your country. It is a civic duty. We don't need to shy away from that. We have to be more responsible, yeah, kind of towards that. So that I want to say. Let's see whether I'm able to bring the caller on live. And there of the area, una need for make know. Okay, say una need the area because I want everybody every caller. I might engage this caller a little bit because obviously I'm not able to develop the story proper and they don't call. So it don't derail me. But let we waiting this caller get for say. Yeah, caller, you're live. If you can just introduce yourself and Usa you the call from, please.
Okay, thank you very much. From Leonardo, me as Superman, I call from United Kingdom.
Okay, yeah, you want to make contribution, you get a question, you want to weigh into this debate, you get a position.
I just want to weigh in a little bit and a set of I want to ask a question. So we already listen this program, so people go for listening and watch them later. The question I want to ask is the massacre or I will call it the disaster, the killings that happened so now, Makeni. The question I ask is it premeditated? And I ask that question if it premeditated because the security force system and the subsequent killing way happened so now, Makeni, would have been easily avoided. And I believe that most of we see alone and will see how this could have been easily avoided. This is not supposed to happen. Then people know for guys senselessly like all the guys so at all. If only the security forces could have even stopped a minute and think about it. So there are many strategies in policing. In policing, it don't mean you all you just go for the advanced number for just carry what you want, carry so tell it is stop. And he assess you, the strategy. Say, okay, maybe let people have the need for let steam out. Now let back out small, maybe let steam out. When the tension cold, we'll come in again and handle it much better. And we also know say the police gets other arsenal at their
disposal.
Exactly so. For instance, they get tear gas, they get a lot of things for don't use at least for even disperse the crowd. So why is it that they don't use live ground ammunition? And when see them according to reports, they come on a credible report and say, some others say they will shoot their chest. So all these questions we ask when every police them, nobody thinks they will kill people in that place. If they nobody don't meditate for can do that or they can do anything like that, why would they take them action? Now when I really bizarre action them, where plenty Sierra-Leoneans are really puzzled. They ask the boy, this might be reporters or economy riot or whatever. But the circumstance where it degenerates into serious violence where people lost their life was very, very unnecessary. So the own questions only are the ask, where maybe other people are calling for most small is these killings, this disastrous killing will take place now, Makeni. Is it premeditated?
Okay, I want to let you rest your thoughts. They remain on the line, but like I say, because the program is just a bit developed, but it's a very critical and crucial question, and I believe say the rest of the audience don't hear you, and maybe other people that go on for kind of weigh in. Other people that go on for weigh in, but it is very critical. But then we need to establish the premise first of all. So Fambulem, without much ado, they suppose say we, if not all of us, but the vast majority of us know waiting transpire na Makeni City. Okay, in Makeni, which happens to be the stronghold of the opposition All People's Congress Party, a day or two ago, because of a generator where the government be want for go take, like moving around assets of the state, can go on another side where it could be of some huge benefit based on waiting day on the other side. Take the generator and can go there so it will serve the people there and also the international airport. This descended into some chaos, and the people they begin for understand and I make it can find for let we allow for let dust settle. And when I go see in my background, whatever I say here today, because of this machine with the in my background, are not supposed to amount to any death or the spillage of blood for one single Sierra Leonean, much more death of multiple Sierra Leonean. We have to make that absolutely clear. And there's a disappointment on the part of those that are responsible, here for protect us. So I go back again to the Constitution. What does the Constitution says in terms of protest? The people have then get the right for assemble and express themselves. Is that correct? Yes, absolutely. We get for make that they absolutely clear. Do they need some permission, here for protest? Yes, they need. And now the contradictions and then some of the contradictions and then what we speak about earlier. Definitely there are contradictions because of the right to protest. Because the complexity or the nature of this particular exercise, which na toolbox inside the democratic, which na tool rather inside the democratic toolbox, nothing where people need for exercise. Though are here on social media, couple of people that don't agree with that, they don't agree with protest. You cannot be serious because this is not part and parcel of a democracy. If we look out throughout history, this life where we live one way or the other, let us deal with those of us who happen for being in the diaspora. If you understand, and I speak largely to Black people, the hippies, the yippies, their different culture, and who were persecuted, discriminated against. There were people who sacrificed themselves, we demonstrate and protest, and some protests descend into riots where we go try for distinguish later between protest and riot and how come it happen. We make for let we sit down so how we sit down and enjoy them benefit there. It come at the sacrifice of other people. It not just happen somehow like the way how some people they want to see them. That's utopia. It's not possible. It don't happen like that because the powers that be, in most cases, if not all, can one keep their powers then they to themselves and dispense the rest as they feel to the others. And how can you call that an equal and even society? So therefore, people can protest and I make them make the constitution. So if we switch over back, to we own side and where we come out, i.e. Africa, where most times you can find governments who are very repressive, tyrannical, despotic, and they suffocate and subjugate the people the way most times they can want to do because they want to keep power to themselves. They can use all their tactics there, use the apparatuses of state we're supposed for serve and protect the people, i.e. in this case, the police, the military or paramilitary, as against the people instead of for the people. This should not be condoned in any case. And what is unfortunate is the powers that be, when we get some tragic events such as waiting happened at Makeni, instead of them come out and unite the nation around what's supposed to be one country and one people under the flag green, white, and blue, and we pledge with loyalty to a country called Sierra Leone, it becomes a country, divided on the basis of partyism, of color, entrenched deeply in USA you belong or USA you come out. This cannot be, and we should not tolerate this today, not yesterday as we did, not today and going into the future. Because why? It's going to be really, really bad for a country which we expect, for remain cohesive, for remain together, both as a country and as a people. That una the leaders there, where something of that nature happened, even though you might see it in a different sense, even though the security forces or the intelligence services might advise, the bottom line, you get for ask yourself, which is greater? The machine waiting on the background or the loss of your citizen in life? I ask the question, which is greater? The machine waiting be or the life of your people, the loss of lives, the spillage of blood? Because these machines can be replaced. These are properties, and of course, it's not damaged. They're managed for still taken. But what about the lives lost? When lives are lost, ain't no coming back. You're gone. Forever and ever, your people and therefore mourn you. And this, apart from that, not also go down well with a country we're supposed to come together. We're supposed to look after its citizen. So the Constitution does provide that people have got the right for participate in protest, for assemble, for express their views, especially if things not go right. Yes, they can do that and ask government, say government, this is what we want to do. But here again lies some of the contradictions. If the government is not doing right, if what you are going to be protesting is going to be on the basis of exposing a government, the nature of a government, not only on the domestic scene, but also internationally, do you think that government is going to issue your permit? Don't you think that government will find all kinds of excuses so that you cannot, will not exercise your right as you're supposed to, as permitted under the Constitution? The answer is absolutely yes. And we say I'm on the basis of evidence, because the world over, this don't happen all sides. And this not only Africa, it happen even at the developed world, at the industrial world. It does happen. But just that when you look at exponentially, when you look at, from the number game, you go see where one side surpass the other because they are more tolerant than another side, of countries there, i.e. Africa. Fambulem, we really need for re-examine ourselves. We really need for look at the soul of the nation. We really need for ask pertinent questions, because it's obvious that the nation is divided. And I mean, they say, waiting meet me yai and me yes, this 2-3 days over social media, other calls they were get and messages they were get. It shocked me to the core. It shocked me to a point that I'm not even able to contain my emotion. Because like I can always say, and like I do here and say here all of the time, what it matter to me in a country first. You might think what you want to think, but what I do know, we are all subjected to the court of public opinion, and that court then I ain't for make the decision as to who is who and who that portray itself in which way. But like I say, nothing that I say here today is equal to the loss of lives. I mourn and stand with the people of Makeni. I mourn and stand with the Mamid and the Dadid and the Fambulem who lost loved ones na Makeni. I stand up with the citizens of Sierra Leone, not aside, but in the collective. So I stand with the Constitution, we make provision. Fambulem, let we go and they read the Constitution. I remember many programs they were don't host. I always try for talk from the legal perspective of things, that we need for look at the Constitution and try for understand the basics of the Constitution. The Constitution are we protective cover. It not means say because now we protective cover, some governments go afford for use that protective cover they for protect we. Because time and again we've seen the abuse of political power, the abuse of the Constitution, which is supposed to be a sacred document. And not only they talk about today, when I watch this program, you go see say the program is aptly named, profoundly named, for a definite reason then and now, because we can scrutinize the then and bring and come forward and look at the now. But when we look at the now, when they talk about people that we promise, we say, we going to deliver you out of bondage, as they call it bondage. We're going to deliver you out of what was a menace, a miasma in the past. So therefore, it is a new direction. So the question what we ask is like, where is this new direction? What is this new direction? Probably we need a redefinition for understand what is this new direction. Another say for spike another side, but adjust the say on a public platform, outlining cases where don't happen in which there has been a loss of Sierra Leonean lives, where culminated from the beginning from something else where we don't see. Because for over 2 years ago. We don't see the march to where we are today. So it's not like it's just spontaneous waiting happen. If we've been to do with studies, if we've been to do with reviews, if we've been to look at things, how then they happen, we can almost predict waiting will happen because we're not seeing for they do a turnaround. The tension is mounting, okay? The power grab is just there. The provocation is just there. With a pronouncement from other side of governments that are supposed to be responsible, we're supposed to articulate outline. And I know they say this because other people are not responsible, i.e. the opposition. There is responsibility on every part of the strata of our societies, okay? Responsibility on every part, every sphere, every facet of our society. Then one that we call ourselves civil society, we're supposed to put checks and balances on our system. The one that we call public media, social media, commentators, and the rest of it, they also bear responsibilities. We ministers, then we government officials, then we members of parliament. It's a whole system, a slew of system. We're supposed to put the checks and balance on we government, how they comport themselves, how they portray themselves. You cannot go and kill dozens of people or a dozen people then, and then you come out, you not express no remorse, no empathy for the death of Sierra Leoneans then. You cannot. Even if those people had violated the law, the reasonable position would be express sympathy or profound regret at the loss of lives, but XYZ, the rule of the land must be observed, must be protected at all times. That's a responsible statement for you. You cannot take gasoline and pour over fire. All you will get is more fire. That is not responsibility. Them program they are, the way we approach them, it has to change. It honestly has to change. It cannot, the state cannot sustain itself in this way. This is just a fact. You don't want to rule over one sector of a country. You want to rule over the length and breadth of a country. And to do so, you don't have to subjugate you people into terror. You cannot call the other terror, yet you unleash terror. The issue here, the symptom here is not violence as then they perpetrate them or as then they say them. In other words, the other side, like what happened at Makeni, you go one attribute to violence and one say na the cause that one day. That is not the cause. That is just a symptom of a greater problem, which is the cause. The cause could be the lack of education, the lack of access to wealth, to health, the lack of access to jobs, to justice. You therefore look at all the social indignities there are, there's shortages there of them things that they in a society where one side, almost has it all, and another side, you don't have it all. So you therefore also look at all of them prospects than they. And this is what the problem is. This is what the bigger cause of waiting that happen at the society, where waiting we see where they happen is a reaction to the things the way they happen on them levels than they. Okay? The people that will come out for go protest, okay? Now people where there is something. There would have been a misunderstanding because this is what I'm beginning to understand. A misunderstanding of communication between the powers that be, between the stakeholders. A miscommunication. In some cases, some, like me, what I said, we just call, sorry, I think it's still the weight. We'll get to that. In some cases, it seems to be like an intent. Because if you negotiate, like the minister tried for tell we, if you negotiate, you get to try for exhaust that negotiation day. Because when you finally take action, that action will be justifiable by doing what you're supposed to do first. Like when you come out now, you can't explain, say, but we try for negotiate. And then you tell me, say, the people and say, then we'll come back to we in a week. So if the people will not come back to you in a week, also that means you go and unleash terror on them and accuse them of being the terrorist. Are you serious, Mr. Minister? Are you serious? Now let me distinguish between the motive of going for the generator, and the action taken. We need to understand this because the confliction what I talked about earlier, this is it. And sometimes some people get the intention of trying to wash with face, go up instead of wash and down when at the conventional way. So yes, from what the minister explained to we regarding the taking of the generator from one end to the other, it sounds by all intent and purposes for be a very good thing. Okay, the other side lack a generator and they need and they badly. So if you get a spare way, then they deprive you of waiting the generator supposed for they do for you. You're not being really denied other than the generator itself just being physically taken off the ground to an other end where it go serve, you know, a section of the population as well, and in a wider context, the international airport, then I think say we all for move towards that direction and support that. But waiting at the communication between them now with the Yeri say, one of the people that were the major stakeholders in that conversation, the way the minister talk about, is the mayor what happened for Don Ledon na hospital for weeks, sick. So how possible that they wouldn't say seriously sick, go able for communicate, you know, yeah, the way I was supposed to, because it's not a normal situation. So that should have been taken into account in the negotiation process. We also hear from the minister, and this is not made up, that the APC Secretary General happened for be Usman Fodeyansane was also consulted, and you therefore scratch your head and ask, well, why was he consulted? Because all that begin to happen now, you begin to scratch your head and remember, why Mr. Yansane we not hail from Makeni? From when we look at left, right, and center, what did he get for do with this generator, other than maybe from a sensible aspect of conversation, now because there is an APC connection to this generator, where we don't understand why it will be an APC connection to the generator, in which the Secretary General of the party, who is not a stakeholder in Makeni, who is not a son of Makeni, will now have to be consulted. This just raised a red flag. Englishman call a red flag, a red herring. Okay? So is it a giveaway by the minister that a consult with Yansane? The minister will therefore come back and tell the people of Sierra Leone, so why you consult with Yansane? Because there's a misunderstanding here as to why you talk to Yansane, Ulana Yansane in this entire case. Or are you the try for tell we say, so this whole debacle now APC has been suspected by a section of the community. So instead of you they try for promote cohesiveness among the nation, you seem for to sow a seed of discord by that very information the way you put out. I mean, they talk about the negotiation process before I go to Payansane, which I think say is a complete confusion, you know, on the part of the minister or whatever negotiating team where they be in this. Okay, you're supposed to exhaust the process. You're supposed to realize the complexity and the sensitivity to the place where you talk about and what it mean. So now that make in the first place you say, which was a good thing or is a good thing, that on a whole consultation, okay? Because you know say it's a hot area in terms of an opposition stronghold. So you consult the stakeholder then at the place, the mayor and other senior citizens of the place. But how was that well communicated? So will the suspect now say that there is some dishonesty on the part of somebody in the sense, and mind you, before you begin to make judgment, and they keep me option very open here, that when that negotiation go on, where I get questions about, that it wasn't communicated well, either by the minister or the team of the ministers, or by the stakeholders in Makeni. So therefore, we establish an intent. Say somebody will get some intention for create the havoc we happened in a Makeni. It's as simple as 1, 2, 3. But here we go again. The minister began the responsibility for exhaust the negotiation. And why do I say this? Because it's clear. Based on what the minister tell we, now the public domain is, after we don't talk, then promise we say then we'll come back to we in a week's time. 1 week passed, the minister even mentioned a month. So now it's a month. So before that month, then Mr. Minister, my own question to you, sir, did you went back to the stakeholders, because you not tell me not to say you went back to the stakeholders for try for comments and open up this negotiation for find out what exactly is happening? So because there has been an additional 3 weeks on top of the 1 week where they be promised you say that they come and they not come, so therefore you decide for take action in which in consultation with the AIG, you order troops for march into Makeni and create the mayhem. So you see the thing what they talk about. So sometimes the violence is perpetuated by the other side, i.e. provoked by the other side, because you know what you'd expect. That's why you went in there with security forces in the first place. Okay, Fambulem, here is another angle to this. We also now know, say, that there is a garrison na Makeni. It not necessarily means that garrison has to be used, but these are the security forces within Makeni. And you therefore ask yourself, because when they look at things, I like for looking from a wider expanse of things. When you look at Makeni and the garrison where they do, you therefore ask yourself, why are they there? And also put the garrison aside. I'm sure say there are police and intelligence services in Makeni. The people them way went for this generator. Where did they come from? Who sent them? Where are they particularly from? Why wasn't the people, the security forces that were based inside Makeni, we understand the dynamics, the sensitivity, we understand the people then, where did they? Why were they not used? Were they consulted that we are coming? Why did you have to use people from the outside? Did this sound like a similar scenario, like the Pademba Road, in which there is something called the dereliction of duty, the security forces, presidential guards, paid, trained, only for the president, the safety of the president, had to abscond their duty, not off-duty ones. These are active ones who were just, kind of a mile or so away, or 2 miles away at most, from State House, the official residence office of the president, to the maximum security prison, abandoned the presidency and went, for go quell down a riot. Are there similarities here? So this is what I'm saying. There is been a pattern, and the responsibility lies squarely on government. Now, back to the Constitution before I go to the guest who's been actually patient with me. The Constitution will also make provision for protest, the assembly of people. Yes, you therefore talk to the police or to government for a variety of reasons, which we can understand. Because you protest, therefore resonate well with USA you want protest and which you they protest for. You not therefore infringe on the rights of other people there. In this case, the majority. In Makeni, it seems that there's a consensus because these are the people who are there and then they're picking them. And in this case, now something we then see as belong to them was going to be taken. So therefore, they see reasons, for jump out and say, where are you taking this? You're not supposed to take this. This belongs to us here. It's serving us. So they got out there. So they've got a right. Now with protest, sometimes, and in this case, it can be spontaneous. And what I mean by this, it's not really planned. So it was a kind of a reaction. The question here is like the guest said earlier on. You can back off and come back another day. You don't need to execute the plan on that particular day, except there is an intent, but the developing scenario can make, you step back. In military tactic, you call and withdraw. It's a strategic withdrawal because you try to avoid a particular scenario where will paint you in a picture. And here goes again, many, many other examples. We know we've seen a similar scenario around the country, in different parts of the country, but yet the medication applied was different for the same disease. And you have to ask why. Are we testing systems? Are we discriminating between regions and people? These are profound questions that need answer. The state has got a responsibility and is in the Constitution. Fambula Wala want to pay attention to Article 2 and 3 that talks specifically about the area they want to try for cover, so which we really need for note. Articles 2 and 3. We really need for know them. Really need for look at them. The fundamental principles of state policy, that's chapter 2, which talks or deals with the obligations of government. Now, Constitution, now we talk here, not to hear say, but they talk about reality because Most times, we the people can left for hide under the word opinion, where I want to talk about briefly before I go to my guest. When we want hide or cover ourselves under issues, we quick for revert to my opinion. Yes, of course, it's your opinion, but even the opinion should have a citation, should have some justification. You can't just throw something out there and then when questioned, and then you reel back into a coil and say, oh, no, it's my opinion. Yes, it is true, it's your opinion, but what is your opinion? What is your opinion supported by? There has to be some justification. There has to be some citation. And I say this on a serious basis because if not the vast majority, a lot of us do that all the time. And now because I can't find out, say, you cannot support the basis of your argument, your theory, or it then becomes your opinion, fine. But show me some justification so we can go by. Because the argument does not stop there, the debate does not stop there. So next time, to you, when somebody tells you, say, "I'm your opinion," challenge them. Yes, of course, that your opinion, but your opinion is supported by what? What's in the justification? Why did you say it in the first place? Where the citation? Where the reference? Because most times we blunder with that word and try to run away and reel into a coil. That just need for stop because all the time people they want to try their funny things and they with us. So I say, waiting at the talk now, come out from the Constitution, which is a sacred document. And I advise Fambulem for look into that document today and look into specific areas. And every week now we go try for touch on a section of the Constitution because it's important. But it's happening for say, some people do not get respect for the Constitution. The sacred document will provide protection, security, provision for we all. We cover we all, now the umbrella for we all. And the sections are there, they are clear that in chapter 2, it talks about the obligations of government, the duties of the citizen. I talked about them earlier on. So there's a contractual agreement, and the Constitution serves as the basis of a go-between between government and the people, vis-a-vis the people and government, waiting are we different responsibilities. Government get the responsibility for provide cover for we, for provide security for we in food and physical security, jobs, and etc., access to health, access to wealth, access to land, and many other things, therefore avoid a social dysfunction. In the absence of that, what you are going to see is protest. So protest is the symptom, not the cause. The cause is the absence of all of these things we need for understand them, and the people have got the right to protest. The protest can descend into riot, not intentionally, but by the response. Sometimes it's intentional, but it depends on who that organizer, waiting at the intent. But in 99% of the cases, now a reaction to something way genuine, and people that want to express themselves. So protest is a necessary component. Mr. Mohammed, thank you for your patience. You have been there. You heard me say a lot. I want you, Seth, use the opportunity for just deliver a monologue on the issue. Then maybe I will take calls. Fambulem, the lines are open. I've been on put and they want to look up now the chat room. The WhatsApp number there and the normal number is there. If you've got a contribution, please don't hesitate to call. Feel free. This can only be a debate and not a monologue where I look for. So we can able for talk because it does matter. Yes, Mr. Superman.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Police. I mean, you couldn't have put it more better, any better back when you quote the Constitution, because we all are saloon, from the president to we all. Now the Constitution, in 1991 Constitution, and the government, we all, and it cater for all NCSO. So all of the NCSO, they talk about things covered. And it's very fundamental, even at the open chapters, they tell any governments, whether a saloon say, the primary purpose and responsibility are to look after all the people and welfare. And which more welfare, more sacred in life than person in life. So this is why I asked that question where I pose, because it's very fundamental for what we see from all the different angles there, where this thing take place. And I believe so we all say Alliance and we know we agree say this was completely unnecessary, for happen. Let people are not to die. The opportunity for let people are life to be saved, then plenty. Fundamental question where you ask is the local as a garrison. When they get also Jaman and they go up to 2 battalions in terms of police and then a Poloko. And these people, they know the locality, they know the people, then they live at the place, they don't interact with the people. So if any sort of protest, commodity or riots, it make any sense when they go to the outside police and force when they don't utilize one of the inside? Because they get personal relationship, they understand the people. The people that coming outside, will they get all their they don't get up because they don't sabi the dynamics and the place they. These are all other issues that we get for take into consideration. Then the other thing again, the minister insists when he interview, when he says a talk, he mentioned the fact that he don't talk saying the people them, the stakeholders them, he don't get what with them. The stakeholders say, okay, when you get back to you, we get back to you within a week. They don't get back to them. It's even up to a month. I mean, I believe saying that any situation like that, any normal interaction, even at government, whatever, the next stage for you, the person, then for get back to the people and say, well, I went to one. No, we don't get to talk, we don't get an engagement, we don't get back to it. And they went to a while. Why did they even have to wait for a month? Because how long we gonna be ahead for? So these are all the circumstances there. So one make and put that question and say, is the whole thing premeditated? Because if not, why all the last step will take place? It's a very, very important for watch out from there, different angles there. So, like when you see them on police tactics and they get plenty tactics for doing protests, riots, whatever disturbances. And it's not always the best tactics for say, okay, for just go full blown on. But it's up now. And you know, and their life is dangerous because when somebody or policeman decide for use a weapon, one of the key fundamental reasons why for decide for using weapon, now when your life is in danger, or somebody else says I will protect their life, they're in danger. So all of them they are mitigating circumstances them. When you think about where they're running from mitigate the whole scenario, when you run to a bloodbath, because what you see the videos them. But even though the video say journalists now they see the way shoot us a hair letter. And you know the journalists are able to cry. And again, the minister, everyone put out statements. You know, actually mentioned say, boy, this is happening, no more really sorry, this is what happened. We really feel afraid people will not die.
You're right.
And they put them in mama them, papa them. Then party them. Will they extend condolences on behalf of the government to them? No, people run, nobody die. This die not in necessary at all. We don't get expression come out from the government, from anybody. More than the minister will be there in charge of all this operation here. So again, the why, it's like questions and we're plenty scenarios will ask now. So it's just premeditated. Why did it have happened? Because it did not make no sense. And this did not happen before. There's a precedent where the same thing people in Ghana are in fact they don't know the generator themselves now. The generator will pull them out. The people say no, the generator need to go and protest for people. What's they doing in fast back?
Yeah.
Then you ask them to back off. And they try to do something else. When they come put the generator, they suffer and they go and say, nobody knows life. Why would not think of all the approaches in there? You know, the opportunities when they get to think of so many approaches they're plenty. So why did they not use any of them instead of resort to find live bullets, live rounds on protesters, kill people and shoot people and win people?
Okay.
You know, all of these questions, all of that outstanding question here, what we for say is any independent and thorough investigation. Well, I mean, not a whitewash investigation. These are the questions for post to them.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Kamara, many thanks for your contributions, sir. Always, I appreciate your insight into issues of state. Many thanks, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. God bless you all.
You're welcome. God bless the country. Okay, that was a regular contributor and a man we get program on the show itself. It's called Inside Salon today, and I believe this Saturday they do a program, for analyze the financial economic situation, now the country, and with one of another favorite person at this platform. He will talk about that himself anyway. But family, here's the thing. Okay, we come towards the end of the program now. We don't do an hour on the mark. Okay, somebody else. The call. Hello, caller. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, caller, you are live, but you get for turn your gadgets down where you watch them from just the volume so that we go able for hear you and the audience will hear you. And thank you very much, madam. And if you can please introduce yourself because you look like a first-time caller on the program. Who's are you call from and your name, please?
Mina Aisha Moliba, and I go just talk say Mina Sierra Leonean.
And you they call from?
It's not Sierra Leone.
Yeah, who's are you call? Who's are you call from? Who's are you call from, Aisha?
They call from East Africa.
Wow.
Every day are they in tune with me country.
Wonderful.
Yes.
The floor is all yours,
so,
Aisha.
The issue. Okay, the issue about Makeni Prince, I just want to start from also you end.
Yeah.
About the welfare of the people. The issue, it happens spontaneously.
Yeah.
And this is a basic need, a basic right, an essential right. Because the people are the basic necessity electricity, where we all know say Makeni then gets regular light. And that help for make it also support Boko families then, because through electricity, Boko family then depend on that. And as we just say, the situation, it call me memory to the 80s when we be get a small, but I been get sense at the primary school, lots of protests and they take place everywhere in the country, killing they take place spontaneously in the country. So within these 2 good years, we are hoping for the best, but we are like taking a step back and recalling some of we were really face the conflict. Not only one day we been maybe sit down for it on becoming come offline. I gonna display school na free tongue and I find myself in a refugee camp as a separated child. So I get a lot to talk about the conflict. So anything when it happens Sierra Leone, it pain me. This not a right of the people. When we don't engage the people, them, the stakeholders, unfortunately, the mayor it can fall sick. And we get the resident minister. The resident minister, what do you do? What did the resident minister do? Now that's the question we go ask. And when they come for take the generator, they find out say the youth there because the largest number of population where we get today in Sierra Leone, the youth them. And so need for make them engage the youth them, dialogue with the people them, and give them time, space, instead of somebody just order for make them kill innocent people them. And the people are the government. This is what Sierra Leoneans need to know.
Yeah.
And President Brigadier Bio, no, they govern a particular set of people, but it govern Sierra Leoneans them. Yeah. And so, if then they kill people in Makeni, the other side they rejoice, say, therefore kill them. Are they not human beings? What are we talking about? The right to life? Yeah. Are we expecting the right to life? Yeah. And they not get permit for make them protest, but it's spontaneous. This is an essential need, a basic human rights need, where the government has responsibility for provide that. And the people, they're not explained to them, make they understand. Yeah. So then they feel saying that the generator where they get, where it be saying that they give them light 24 hours, and they can't take. Yeah. They're not aware, say, na spear generator. And me personally, I sick na me heart. I sick and I feel sad because it bring bad memories of the past. we don't move from the conflict era, we come at the post-conflict era successfully with the two main governments that we don't pass. Tijakaba laid the foundation. And as it built on the foundation, and we expect Bio continue with the building of peace, and it gets an agenda of the Peace Commission, and these are issues. Are you dialoguing with your people? Are you creating a space of social cohesion in the country? Are you sharing resources equally? Are you also treating everybody equally? As a leader, it's time for him for make it be wise and make it dissociate himself from partisan perspective, for make it dissociate himself from regional and tribal, make it stand as an independent, Sierra Leonean, a father of the nation, and as somebody where they give ears to the people them.
Yeah.
It's sad, it's unfortunate, and we are taking a step back in a call for, and the minister will order this irresponsible. Irresponsible. If he feels that it is scot-free, it no go scot-free now God in hand. He get for go answer, then blood there tomorrow. We don't die today, tomorrow he get for go answer to God. Because now it be the greatest responsibility. Thank you when you bring this type of program, and me they send me condolence to me people in Makeni. And when you did talk, say a dialogue with the opposition party. So in this case, from a legal point of view, I would just say like Mohammed talk and say that premeditated action. The resident minister we don't talk, say then they kill. And now it don't happen. It is been confirmed. His statement on suspension, now has been confirmed. So, Mr. Government, are you against a set of people in Sierra Leone, or are you a government leading the people of Sierra Leone? And the government is made of the people. The people are the ones that make you a president, and the people that are the ones that makes the government.
Wow.
So we need a reciprocal, response again from the government to respect the people of Sierra Leone. If Nabimbo then go do so, the Bo people then go gladly for me, they pull their machine. That's just a layman understanding. Now the benefits. I therefore make me rich. And they sell me the water. And they sell me ice. Now then they can't pull this machine. How we go can do? Immediately they're not going for go tell you say, no we guys. Police. Yes, it has to do with the basic necessity of the people. I think I not take 10.
Wow.
Just stop
it almost sounds like a sermon, and I've got no question for you. It's difficult for lady hair and the back of my head stand up. Which you talk so it's so powerful that I am really moved, because you really touch on the issues, and I really, really do appreciate you for this. Many thanks for calling, and please spread the message, a good message in East Africa. And by the way, this now we first step. Oh yeah, I get few friends in East Africa. So yes, this that just are not addendum. I get few friends in Kenya and Uganda. But you've made the case already, and you ended on a high note. And it's so critical to all the people that they listen that it's about, are you in conversation with your people? Are you really talking? Are you really rolling over the entire length and breadth of the country? I mean, you can't.
Exactly, and it's time for the government to go into deep dialogue with the people.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Then go get a social cohesion in place in the country, because people are aggrieved.
Yes, people are aggrieved.
The situation, because a lot of momentum where positive. They kill people. There is fighting in North Zambia. There is fighting in Tombodia. They kill people in the prison. Killing people again in Makeni. So where next? Is it going to be Maboka?
Absolutely, and that's what people are discussing right now. But thank you so much, my sister, for your call. I deeply appreciate that. And take care. And hopefully, when we come again next time, you might be on the program. I will keep in touch. I'll save your number.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
You're
welcome. Okay. That was a powerful caller from East Africa and Sierra Leone, and we're making case very, very strongly and deeply, deeply appreciate in position, where it take, because this is what we are talking about overall. It's about the consolidation of peace. And Fambulem, another thing ironical about this entire thing, it's not new. I can always talk about this. We current leadership, the number one man, the retired brigadier, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Julius Maada Bio, was a candidate for peace and conflict studies. A number one advisor, now a professor, we get many, many books. I think I don't read one or two of his books. Yeah, interestingly. On peace and conflict studies, a professor from Bradford University on peace and conflict studies. And the fact that we go through this moment, where if not be a biblical prediction, people are going to celebrate already, say this is a God-sent moment, in the sense that waiting will they go through, and then you get people where the expertise in this particular area, which means that we should be in safe hands because they understand the spasm that the country they go through. So this much more would have been on a biblical proportion, a deliverance, because here you get two of the most powerful people in the country. We understand what it is. But the irony here, the paradox here is, look what we find ourselves in, that the country, they degenerate, they deteriorate, they come to a situation of anarchy and chaos in which the center doesn't seem to be holding, and it's going to be difficult to patch because the gap is widening. This is troubling for people like us. This is worrying for people like us. So the last caller talked about the cohesion where we actually look for, where we spell out who we are as a people. And the leadership supposed to create that atmosphere there of amicability, of unison, or unison, some people will say. In other words, oneness. And if you see me earlier flyer, I talk about Makeni, the poison chalice. It's almost poetic in the sense that when you talk about the poison chalice, it's meant for be something good, something where you be sell to me, something where you been give me, something which I'm part of. In a good way, it was supposed to be good, but it turned out to be the killer blow, the death blow, the poison chalice that he asks now for touch, for look up to. This is what Makeni is. The former presidents cannot build them, invest in them, and leave them. And the people were happy because during his tenure as president, the people were okay. They were doing well and going about their business and the rest of it. But now the political power has changed. It has become the front line for dissension. And it looks like, that the current leadership has a fixation in that particular section of town in which we don't read this for quite a while, so it's not new that eventually they'll be able for amass security forces will go inside there and provoke mayhem and gun down people, the youths of the community, in cold blood, simply because of misinformation. These youths were not running to town and asking for, the worst, the overthrow of a government, or that government should go and the rest of it. It was something of an asset to them which they were trying to protect. So that alone could have boiled down to misinformation, and the troops could have tactically withdrawn and go back to their bosses if they were not under instructions to act anyhow. So like the last caller say, the bearing a day upon this particular leadership, this particular minister, that for take responsibility, and the blood of the people which were shared under the young youths them of that part of the country is on their head. That's how simple it is. And you see social media go overdrive, in which the country seems so far apart that the number one leadership go on a social handle, and there is no empathy. There is no feeling for you compatriots them, for you comping citizens them, the people where you derive the power from, for say, like I say from the beginning of the show, oh, I mean, it's a tragedy, yeah. And I get or express profound regret at the loss of life of we citizens. These young people had all their lives ahead of them, but unfortunately, they met this tragic death. It's unfortunate. But here is the thing, citizen. We will not condone lawlessness. Responsibility is also or supposed to be expressed also by the people. But none of that. But again, I tell you, we see a pattern. There was a minister not too long ago, we tell the people and say, we go make sure say una mama then wear black. There was another high profile person, we say we go mob justice una. We get another high profile person, we call a large section of your population say una na terrorist. And even weigh in on a case, we still in a court, where justice has not yet been served, and pronounced the guilty, even though he not to the judge, but he happened to be the most powerful. So he weigh in pure contradiction, like I talk about the contradictions of waiting potentially can happen. And that exactly happened. So when you don't weigh in on a case like that, if justice were to be served, and the case for base or the outcome for based on the merit, now would I get mine now for go against waiting you don't say? So these are the kind of things that we are experiencing. And Adam make us say, these are not the real causes. Then people there now react, and then they react. The youths of Makeni get the message wrongly, but they were right to go out there and protest. The Constitution provides that. It wasn't a planned protest. It was on the basis of waiting a year and understand. With security forces need for express caution when they deal with the people then. Listen, some of una bosses then get for be held accountable. But remember, some of una self, the commanders then, will be held accountable because you get a duty, a constitutional duty, where you swear to the people of Sierra Leone, where you take the oath before they give you that uniform day that you go serve and protect. If it is not right, why would you? Don't our law enforcement officers them or institutions them get other way for serve and protect or for control riot and protest other than using live bullets? Are you already going into action with the intent for kill? Is that what it is? Is it based on a premeditated feeling? Is it already a foregone conclusion that I'm going there and this is what I'm going to do? Is that the angle that you're coming from? Is that the angle you're coming from? Don't you have other tools in your kit box that you can use for quell down the riot or protest? Do you have to use live bullets? Can't you learn to injure people like from the leg or fire warning shots in the air? Do you have to aim at people's chest where you know it will be fatal, people's neck where you know it will be fatal? Or the body part as a whole where you know say it will cause damage and it will be fatal? I mean, this is simply wrong. This should be condemned because this is not going to go away, and this is what my fear is. We've seen it, and this is in the political DNA of we country, that another person will come and pass, another one will come, and then will do the same thing or probably even worse. And my final question here is, were we not told that this is a new direction, that this will be a new direction? And this is where I ask the questions, and some of my friends say, well, they try to explain something else to me. That why, they hold the other people are responsible. And for goodness sake, why would I waste my time on a party which is in opposition? Why would I? So whilst I can, cite them or focus on them, but my entire focus or largely my focus 85–90% go be on the people that make a decision now, the people that shape policies now, the people who are responsible for the bread and butter and the well-being of we fellow citizens. That's where my focus is. And you know what? I will say to you, my antagonist and critiques, there is a responsibility on the part of every one of us, and it's enshrined in the Constitution that we are entitled to hold the people who are occupying the positions of power to account. That is our business, and it's a civil and it's a civic obligation. Did you hear me? I use the word critically, appropriately. Civic obligation. So next time you want to critique, why did you ask a question of this kind? Why did you say the first lady, should not do this, should not do that? It's because the first lady is different from a private citizen. I cannot go attacking private citizens. I will be wrong. I can't be taken to court. I can't be summoned. I can't be sued. These are private citizens. I can't go infringing on their privacy. The first lady is different. Get this. I know you can't be that thick. I know you don't have a pinhead. It's as simple. Just get it. That's why I ask questions. That's why I will talk about her. I tend not to want to go, her way. But once in a while, I ask questions like the way she comports herself in public, the languages that she uses. It's not first lady-like. It does not belong to the office of the first lady. And this is the perspective that I speak from. It's not personal. I love the woman. Yeah. She's a likable woman. Only problem is when she sits to speak to Sierra Leoneans, it has to be in a decent fashion. It has to be in a decent. I can understand the frustration, but do you have to express yourself in such verbatim? Do you have to use ad hominem in public and the entire world is watching? Is that how we want to know our first lady is defined as? Don't you have a problem with that kind of language? Some people say, well, it's because of media nowadays. But of course, you can express that privately. There was media around. It's not as rampant as it is. When Lady Rebecca Stevens was around, when Madam Patricia Kabah, one of the most educated first ladies ever in the history of the country, was around. But there's a thing called decency. You won't find them doing that. Not in public. Yeah, they might lose their temper, but they know what they say, how they say. And once it comes to the public, they know how to comport themselves. That's what the problem is. And if I speak to the first lady, it's because she's a public figure. If I speak to a minister, it's because they are a public figure. If I speak to the president, it's because he's a public figure. We partly own these people. Do we understand this? That's what it is. So we can express these opinions provided there is a justification and citation as to why we're doing this. I hope I won't have to speak to this anymore as such, because I've made it so clear, so very clear. So Fambulem, we don't come to the end of this program, but like I say, we need for the read we constitution. We need for understand what we constitution say. And not mean say where you read your constitutional rights will not be violated, but it just empowers you for knowing what your constitution say. And like I say, we will try for take time, for the reading parts there of the constitution. We're very important. Like chapter 2 and chapter 3 is very important, especially so to the present conversation. The recognition and protection of fundamental human rights of freedom of the individual. The Constitution makes provision for that. The protection of the right to life. The protection of the right to life is enshrined in the Constitution. So you can't go bumping people off. You can't just go and open sporadic fire. You go get for justifier. How you do justifier? People have bonfires in the history of the world. People do bonfires, protest, i.e. riots, does get violence, but you get to assess that violence there before you react as the way you react. Was it warranted? Was the force used disproportionate to the protesters? Was it necessary? Was it appropriate? Because it's not part of your duty, that yes, you can react, but when you react, the force has to be proportionate to the one where they come towards you. So I don't know how they will justify that in terms of, in the end, people lost their lives, live bullets were used. How much danger were you in? But what worries me most is the country, the division. And is it deliberate that other people are trying to rig division into the country? Wouldn't you want to be a leader that is concerned about your legacy during your period, which you rule for? Don't you want to? So we need to also know that the reaction of people or what people and they do is just a reaction. And that's a symptom to a wider and bigger problem, the cause. The lack of education, lack of access to wealth, to health, social problems. You don't get work or they fire you from work or you people learn from work. And what thing happen at that space, the job not there. So that's what happened. Idleness flourishes. Ministers then take advantage. one minister team up, and they pay on a consolidated fund, a team up before the people and tell the people that go make una mama they wear black. We go kill una. That's threat. That's threat to people's life. The Constitution does not encourage that. Then people and they can take action if you get this so-called independent judiciary. Of course, the word where you say it's toxic. That's terrorizing people. That's the real terror. That's who the terrorist is. But of course, we're beginning to live in a different time. Family, I'm very thankful for una, the audience who una Guinea, for listening to what we get for say. I'm really, really grateful. I've been your host and presenter, Prince Emil Krumah. Today, the 21st of July, 2020. This is not the message we are bringing to una. And then and now, go soon the transfer from this personal page to the business page on Facebook, and we will also the simultaneously broadcast on we live program na YouTube. Let us not forget, say we get a YouTube channel, and at the ask Dria, when go to a YouTube channel and support this platform. This platform is not really personal. It's really not personal. It's about country first. I frown on identity politics. I frown on the politics of color. I frown on entrenched politics. I frown on regional politics. I frown on tribal politics. I seriously do. Seriously do. And Fambula, we all get this responsibility the way I put us so. I really hope say we go at that because it's kind of important. Okay. I just read one or two things quickly from the Constitution and end the program. Chapter 3 of the Constitution. Okay. It talks about, and then Article 15. Every person in Sierra Leone is entitled to the fundamental human rights and freedoms of them as an individual. Waiting this, they try for say that person there or then group of people, they get the right. Whatever the race or tribe and origin, place of origin, political affiliation be, their opinion and color and creed and sex, but then equally self-subject for respect, the right and freedom of other people. So these are the provisions of the Constitution. Very, very important. No person shall be deprived of their life intentionally. Family, this is where I end. No person, that's Article 16, we talk about the protection of life. No person shall be deprived of their life intentionally, except in execution of the sentence of a court, in respect of a criminal offense under the laws of Sierra Leone, of which he has been convicted. 2, without prejudice to any liability for the contravention of any law. So what in this mean? No person shall have to lose their life except a court in Sierra Leone, you know, you offend that person, they're guilty of something and commute that person there to death by whatever means, that not the law na in say so. In the absence of that, whatever else happened will have to be investigated. Fabula Nayarimi will have to be investigated. And let's say this much. And that make you see some people in the try for play smart now. When you hear say cases has been referred, cases, I repeat, has been referred to the police independent community. These cases have been referred to the police independent community. Because why? Nobody not get the right for take the life of another Sierra Leonean. Pass if not the court of Sierra Leone do that. But in this case, not to that happen. So even when the policeman or law enforcement officers, then they go carry out their duty, they have to be careful because a report will have to be written in waiting eventually happen. And in the case of life, which is very much more significant, because in life, in death, there is no coming back, and people and get for being held accountable. They don't begin to refer themselves to the police commission, and we're very keen on knowing waiting there for happen there because we don't see instances like that before them fire before the High Lawrence Lima in O's, how the independent, so-called independent police commission come and they tell me all kind of botobata, in the end of what they just shoot up, and we know the circumstances. It go just like that. And other incidents them, like the Pademba Road incident, there should be a commission of inquiry. Even though the president don't come with the conclusion, don't understand this, but still there has to be an official document and an official position in the form of an inquiry. The president, is a very powerful person, but not powerful past the people. In the end, the will of the people will prevail. So they don't begin to refer themselves to an independent body. In other words, then they try to legitimize the process, because that's what the Constitution called for. That nobody will have to lose their life outside of the court system. Now, the courts, now they say person for die and person for leave. In this case, now Makeni, the courts not say so. The security officers, they go there, they were heavy-handed, they use live weapon and kill multiple people. So therefore, they will get for answer question. When they answer that question, they will get for you waiting this independent body don't say. But we wait for you that because we just add them to the archive, and then people then will get for decide on what the situation is. Family, I think I've said enough. I thank you very much, for listening to this particular program today, the 21st of July, 2020. I've been your host and presenter on the then and now TNN Media Empire, Prince Emil Kroma. They say good night to una all. At the big once more, as at the left una, we are gonna share this video. Let other people be able to watch them, and let themselves go able for weigh in on the debate, what the debate really is. At the left one again once more with the song of Marvin Gaye, a legend, way died a long time ago. But the song is so obviously meaningful to this entire thing we're talk about right now. Okay? I dedicate the show to all the mami that we lost and picking them na Makeni. This particular show today, Makeni Mourns, the death of youths, is dedicated to these people. Not only to these people, but specifically to them, but the country as a whole. When Makeni Mourns, Sierra Leone mourns, not a section of Sierra Leone, this repugnant, repulsive, abhorrent behavior of some na platform for exploit a situation will happen to other people we're not supposed to happen because of our generator we eventually go look and lead up and tap talk and they can't go. And people go lost in life, generator still there alive. Should be condemned. Should not have happened. Yeah. The protesting and rioting of the youth is not a death sentence. Should not have been. So my heart goes out to the family and to the country as a whole. We need cohesion. Other than that, we will lose the country called Sierra Leone. I thank you.